Welcome to AG's Ace. There is some kind of new controversy brewing, and this involves the return of Ramesh Powar as the coach of Team India women's team. Before that, my old friend WV Raman was the coach for a while. There were certain things which happened during his tenure which were good, some not so good. But the return of Ramesh Powar has quite a tinge of controversy about it. Let's go through some of the basic facts and let's see where this will go, because this is a very interesting development. Now, Ramesh Powar has returned as the India women coach, and after his first stint ended in acrimony in late 2018, and there was a very serious fallout with Mithali Raj there. Powar was replaced by WV Raman, and he will now take over from Raman again. Raman's coaching tenure began in December 2018. The Indian team has been largely inactive for almost 2 years because of the pandemic. Now, under Raman, India reached the final of the T20 World Cup in 2020, which was last year in March, losing to Australia on March the 8th. Now, with the pandemic striking worldwide, almost immediately afterwards, the team didn't play another international match until their home series against South Africa women. That began on March 7th earlier this year. South Africa won the ODIs 4-1 and the T20s 2-1, so quite a bad loss there. Now, Raman's position has come in for scrutiny following the losses to South Africa, and there were these reversals which were talked about. The selection panel led by Neetu David asked the BCCI for a rethink on the support staff. BCCI Secretary Jay Shah apparently spoke to at least one member of the selection committee before the Indian board put out an ad on April 13th inviting applications for the head coach's job for a term of 2 years with the job. And this is important, including overseeing the senior team as well as the India A and under 19 teams. Now, Powar was then selected by the Cricket Advisory Committee comprising Madan Lal, RP Singh and Sulakshana Nayak, who interviewed a number of candidates for the post, which saw 35 applications. Besides Powar and WV Raman, who reapplied, the others in the fray were Rishikesh Kanitkar, Ajay Ratra, Mamta Meban, Devika Palshikar, former chair of selectors Hemlata Kalra, and former assistant coach Suman Sharma. Now, apparently, going by media reports, Sulakshana Nayak put in a word majorly for Ramesh Powar, and that seemed to have worked. I cannot vouch for the efficacy of that point, but media reports are coming in indicating towards such a development. Now, Powar is expected to meet with the 5-member selection panel led by Neetu David on a virtual platform this week to pick the squad for India's upcoming tour of the UK, which kicks off with one test match on June 16 in Bristol, and followed by a short calendar of ODI and T20 matches, but this is going to be important. Let's take a look at Pawar's first stint. Now, Powar had first been appointed as coach in July 2018 in an interim capacity, and his contract was then extended to cover the 2018 T20 World Cup in the Caribbean. While India reached the semi-finals of the event, its aftermath had Raj and Powar trading accusations, with Mithali Raj saying she felt deflated, depressed, and let down by the actions of Powar during the tournament, and Powar countering that Raj had threatened to retire mid-tournament if she wasn't given the opener slot. Now, here's the humdinger then, that the Harmanpreet Kaur-led side had then dropped former captain Mithali for the game, and the latter in turn hit back at Powar, accusing him of bias and expressing her anger over the humiliation she faced. Later in a tweet, Mithali had described it as the darkest day of her life. Within quotes, today my patriotism doubted, my skill set questioned, and all the mudslinging. It's the darkest day of my life. May God give strength, she said. Powar's response was a stinging criticism of the senior cricketer. He said, I hope Mithali stops blackmailing, pressurizing coaches, and also stops putting her interest first than the team's. I hope she will look at the bigger picture and work towards betterment of Indian women's cricket. He had written a 10-page report to the BCCI against Mithali Raj. Now, the report had also accused Mithali of focusing more on personal milestones. She ignored her role and batted for own milestones, lack of keeping the momentum going, which was putting extra pressure on other batters. That's what Powar had then said. India lost that match. The controversy also meant that Pawar's contract was not renewed, even though senior players, and again, this is important, Harmanpreet Kaur and Smriti Mandhana, two of the young pillars of the team, had both written to the BCCI urging them to continue with him. Powar then utilized his time well. He worked with the National Cricket Academy in Bengaluru and with the India A sides before taking over as the coach of the Mumbai men's team in February 2021. Under his charge, Mumbai turned their fortunes around and they won the Vijay Hazare Trophy, which is a 50 overs domestic competition, after a pretty forgettable Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy campaign earlier, in which they won only one of their 5 games. So Powar turned it around for the Mumbai side. Looking at Pawar's career, he's played 2 test matches and 31 ODIs for India from 2004 to 2007. I remember him bowling his off spinners with those fancy eyeglasses, and he was quite a presence on the field. He took a total of 40 international wickets. His domestic career spanned from 99 to 2015, and he was known for his off-spinning skills, also as a good all-rounder. Now, he took 470 first-class wickets while also scoring almost 4,500 runs in 148 games. Besides that, he played 28 T20 matches, including the IPL for Kings 11 Punjab and Kochi Tuskers Kerala. Now, Madan Lal, who is an important voice in the CAC, said that he would monitor Pawar's handling of the team and the performance on the field. We would wait for the result. Everybody lays out his or her vision during interviews and promises about giving the best, but at the end of the day, result matters. So it's not only about trying. Now, this is again what I find very interesting is Madan Lal's comment. Powar and Raman were equally good, but we thought Powar might be the better candidate to look after the women's team, which means that it's very clear while he's saying equally good, he felt, and the selection committee also felt that Powar was the better candidate. Also, you always look into all other aspects, like his looking after the Mumbai team, looking after the women's cricket. A lot of things come into play. Indian women's cricket team is growing, and we want them to grow more under Powar. Now, all of us in the committee felt Ramesh Powar was the best candidate. It was a unanimous choice. As far as him working together with Mithali Raj is concerned, there should not be any problem. Mithali's job as a captain is to focus on her role, and so she should work to take the team forward, said Madan Lal. Now, the important point here is that in the UK, for the tests and the ODIs, Mithali Raj would be the captain. So Ramesh Powar has to and must get along with Mithali Raj and vice versa. In the ODI format, Harmanpreet Kaur is the captain, which should be, easier for him because Harmanpreet had put in a word in his favor earlier, and so did Smriti Mandhana. Now, Diana Idulji, former member of the BCCI's Committee of Administrators, COA, said if they want India to do well, both will have to work together and play to win and see that Indian women's cricket remains on the forefront. Now, good thoughts, but on the ground level, for two people to get along is going to be important. Also remember that besides the captain of the Indian cricket team in any format, the role of the coach has become pretty important too. The strategies, the team selection, a lot of it is there, and so is the responsibility. So if the team flounders, the coach seems to get knocked out first, as it is happening in football, particularly all over the world. And there is a bit of a paradigm shift there. So it's not just the captain who takes the chop. In fact, these days, the captain continues, or the player continues as the coach who gets the sack. This is something Powar has to remember. Now, I felt WV lost the plot in the T20 World Cup final in March last year when India were outgunned on all fronts. India appeared clueless, underprepared, lacked strategy, and had not even read the pitch conditions. The opening slam-bang approach failed miserably. I saw that match, and it was pretty atrocious. It was very defeating. Poor fielding, then dropped catches, all added up. Then losing to South Africa meant goodbye to WV. Powar now has the hard task of getting along with Mithali Raj, whom he had accused of absolute selfishness. That is something which is not pretty unknown to Indian cricket. We've had many examples of great players being absolutely selfish, playing for their milestones, and we know some of who they are. Now, obviously, I feel some lobby was at work for Ramesh Powar to return. Of course, no discredit to Pawar's skills. It happens everywhere, and it possibly happens more so in Indian cricket. WV may still get his chance with the India's second squad, which will play in Sri Lanka. And let's see what he does there with the second lifeline. But this is a clear indication that where coaching is also concerned, there is the old world style, and then there is the new world, which has come in with people with their degrees, with their diplomas, with their new experience. And that is also where continuity what are you coaching, what are the skills that you are imparting comes into play. And for a coach, just to be the cheerleader is not going to be enough. Issuing brave statements is not going to be enough. There is a lot that needs to be done, and the results, as Madan Lal said, results do matter. Results will be watched very, very closely. Thanks for watching AG's Ace.